The other big news today, who fired the missile that shot down Malaysia Airlines Flight 17 over war-torn Ukraine? It's the question being asked across the globe tonight as the finger-pointing continues and officials raise the death toll. Here's the latest. Tonight, Malaysia Airlines increased the death toll to 298 from 295, saying that 3 babies had not been included in the original list. Of the known nationalities of the victims, the majority, 154, were from the Netherlands, while 43, including 15 crew, were from Malaysia, 27 from Australia. And the nationalities of dozens of others are unverified. It's unclear if there were any Americans on board. The Boeing 777 was traveling from Amsterdam to Kuala Lumpur when it was shot down over war-torn Ukraine. NBC's Katie Tur has the details from Schiphol Airport in the Netherlands.
Passengers on board were from all over Europe, Asia, even parts of Australia, but most of them on board were from here in the Netherlands. 154 of the 295 on board were Dutch. Now, families and loved ones of those on board showed up here to Schiphol Airport in Amsterdam trying to find out something, anything, whether or not their loved ones were in fact on board that plane. They were quickly whisked away from reporters and taken to a local hotel. You can see that not many of them showing very much emotion at the time. We were able to hear from one woman holding a baby who said that she just missed that flight, that she was supposed to be on it. And as you can imagine, she was very shaken up.
I'm feeling physically sick, and I was like from Hilton, The Hague, coming to the airport in the taxi. I was just crying. I'm just thinking that I feel like I've been given a second chance.
Meanwhile, over in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, an eerily similar sight to what we saw just a few months ago during the disappearance of MH370. Family members crying out, demanding answers from not just the Malaysian airline, but the Malaysian government, and getting frustratingly little in return. Also, Malaysian newspapers are reporting that as many as 80 children could have been on board that flight. NBC News has not been able to independently verify that information, but if it is true, just another tragic layer to this already horrific story. In Amsterdam, Katie Tur, NBC News.
The Malaysia Airlines crash sparked finger-pointing from world leaders and concerns about commercial airliners flying over volatile areas. Throughout 24-hour News 8 at 5 and 6 today, we spoke live with local terrorism and aviation experts for some insight.
Even an international jihadist movement.
GVSU professor and terrorism expert Jonathan White, of course, could only speculate about who could have brought down Malaysia Flight 17. White points out, on top of Ukraine-Russia unrest, the area is vulnerable to other conflicts, including an international jihadist movement.
What we believe to be terrorists have access to something like this.
Well, terrorists could have access to something like that, but
I guess you're conventional terrorists.
Yeah, in terms of probability, terrorists tend to use different types of weapons, and they would tend to use a shoulder-fired or man-pad missile. This takes a sophisticated support system.
Aviation analysts consider the Boeing 777 one of the safest planes in the world. But within hours, several airlines, including Lufthansa, Delta, and KLM, released statements saying they're now avoiding parts of Ukrainian airspace.
I've been doing some research on specifically the Boeing 777, and we just showed some history of this type of aircraft. Would there have been really anything that a pilot could have done in a situation like this?
Absolutely not. I mean, the Boeing 777 is a very sophisticated plane. It's very safe. It's state of the art. But these are commercial jetliners. They're not built to evade missiles. They're not built to enter into combat areas.
And we will continue to follow this situation closely. You can get the latest online right now on woodtv.com and tomorrow morning on Daybreak.